He has an interest in economics, the environment, and rock climbing. Ladies and gentlemen, Edward Murrell.
Hi. This is the year I spent buying only New Zealand-made clothes. I went to a lot of menswear stores and asked them where their clothes were made. Most of the time, they'll look at me kind of sheepishly and say, China. This whole concept was spawned over beer, as such things are. I complained that I bought a bunch of icebreaker, and the wool was grown here, but got shipped off to China, turned into a t-shirt, and shipped back again. I got told to put up or shut up. It turns out that most of what we think of as New Zealand companies over the last 10 to 15 years have mostly offshored their manufacturing. What you don't see on that list is all the companies that have since closed because they can't compete with companies that don't have to do labor or environmental controls. So why do I care? Apart from the environmental aspect, it's all about the money. Not everybody can be a designer in the information economy, and if I don't spend money here, then nobody's going to have any money to pay me for my IT skills. Got a bit of a shock the first time I went and started looking at some of these things, though. Everything's about twice as expensive as the imported equivalent, and I've had to readjust a bit. But you have to ask, who or what is paying for that price difference? But the quality is better, and the service is usually better. And I guess it's got a lot to do with the people behind the counter. They care a lot more about their products because they usually have a hand in the production of them. Quite a few places would offer to remake things for me, often at the same price as what was on the rack. I guess that's one of the good things about having a small scale. Often the person who made these things is about 1 or 2 steps from the person selling it to you. Unfortunately, I couldn't find sneakers made here. Barter bullets haven't been made here since the early 90s. I did manage to find McKinley's. They're in Dunedin. These babies and these I've been thrashing for about a good 18 months, and they're still really solid. Not quite so solid were a lot of the websites I saw. Asking people to email you for a quote is a bit like not having FPOS. Wholesalers don't have photos, and a lot of independent factories don't even have a website at all. This might be related to our provincial roots. There's less and less of this, but there's still a few places in the boonies selling a bush shirt and calling it New Zealand fashion. And everybody seems to love t-shirts. Hey, it's easy, it's cheap, and it's not hard to screen print. I don't think there's that much of a market for a t-shirt that says, always remember to blow on the pie, though. Because it's all about the economies of scale. 1% of the USA is 3 million people. 1% of New Zealand is about the population of Wanganui. And the competition for the New Zealand market, despite all the offshoring, is still kind of fierce. So your other option, of course, is niche. If you're into a sport a bit more complicated than kicking a ball around the field, such as throwing yourself up and down a mountain, turns out there's a whole bunch of companies that mostly export, willing to sell you stuff that you can thrash and trash. So what I had trouble finding, though, was jeans. So last year, entering an entrepreneurial competition, my flatmate and I came up with an idea to try and start making jeans in New Zealand. We wanted to be the Levi of New Zealand. Unfortunately, as we discovered when he went and chatted up one of the local reps to get her sales figures, it's not that profitable for an IT guy and an accountant to be making clothes. We had some interesting problems with suppliers as well. One company in Hamilton took 2 weeks to get back to me. The Australian people rang me immediately on the Monday and offered to courier me a sample book of all their fabrics, despite the fact I was only asking for some information. And the Chinese rang me up that same night. But if you know your way around a sewing machine, or you have some design chops, which I don't, then it might be a business idea worth considering. So, after a lot of Googling, though, it turns out, and a whole bunch of word-of-mouth referrals as well, I eventually managed to find almost everything I needed. From the suits, down to underwear, socks, even slippers. Pretty much everything I needed was in New Zealand. The cutting edge of awesome award has to go to these. These are the cactus climbing work shorts. They're made of 12-ounce canvas, stand up all by themselves until you wear them in a bit. And I believe they're appropriate. for wrestling crocodiles. So did I succeed? Everything I'm wearing is made in New Zealand. But it's not just about clothes. It's food, it's furniture, it's everything we as New Zealand consumers choose to spend our money on. Because if we don't worry about our economy, who will? Cheers.